Well. Hello, everybody. I'm moving myself over a little bit. Okay. Well, everybody. This is one of those tangent videos that I've been kind of experiencing, like this idea to talk. And that is, oddly enough, I'm not going to say any of this is going to happen or come to pass. But I would like to make some small predictions in what I think will eventually become the next big trends inside of K-pop from an outsider's perspective. Now, bear in mind, I try to keep my biases and my own personal thoughts aside from everything. This is purely what I've started to notice trending, or that I could see start trending because of other trends. So this is, I don't even really need this. But the truth of the matter is that after having done quite a few videos, I think there's some stuff that I can say that I feel like will eventually be a trend. I would say I'm going to give it 2 to 5 years. 2 to 5 years. So let's go over some of these predictions that I have. So prediction number 1, this is going to be a little bit strange. My first prediction is that the Battle of the High Notes will officially die. But the reason why is because the next competition, why do I still have these on? I don't know. But the competition for the next trend will be a vocal battle of who will have the deepest voice. Now, that sounds kind of weird. However, when you look at groups like Stray Kids with obviously like Felix and Changbin, and then you also have Mingi and Yeosung. I'm probably butchering those names. Both of those groups are very deep, but also it's starting to trend a little bit in the girl groups. Yeji from ITZY have been going through their new album, maybe or may not be working on an album review for Born to Be, but deep voices are already starting to trend. Next thing that I want to actually predict is a brand new concept. I think it will be specifically a girl group concept. I'm gonna hesitantly call it Muse, because we're starting to see a few of these, and with New Jeans and Moonbyul, and there's a couple of these that are starting to pop up. So I'm gonna call it a Muse concept, and I think we'll see it here within 2 to 5 years. Next, the big one. I think that we are going to get a new BTS album. Now, that's not really a bold prediction. What is, I feel like, going to be the crazy bold prediction for it is they are going to be doing an album that they will refer to as going back to the roots. And the reason why I say that is I think that they're going to kind of go back to basically them writing everything. I think that we have seen enough time off that they will probably write their own music for their next album. And I think that on top of it all too, I think that they are going to go with a nostalgic kind of sound, but also with their new experiences tie into some pretty deep stuff. The next prediction that I have for K-pop, and I think I'm already starting to see this a little bit, is a return and full cash-in on second and third gen sounds. I think that they are starting to realize, even still to this, even as of time of recording, that we are going to see, and we are already seeing, a return to second gen and third gen sounds, especially amongst some of the girl groups. The biggest one being, I think in a lot of senses, is actually New Jeans has already started to do that. I think that is going to be a full cash-in of groups that will return to the sound of second gen. My next prediction is one that we are already seeing in full effect, so I'm just going to say that the concept of albums will only be further buried. And I think that in reality, you're probably going to see a group put out 4 EPs to 1 album, if not even more. And I think we're already starting to see kind of that everywhere, not even just inside of K-pop, everywhere. We're starting to see kind of some drop off of full-length albums. I think the next prediction is that we are going to see a bit of I'm going to call it a counter in trend. That I think there's going to be a subset of popular groups that will try to buck the trends more so and do it successfully. And I think that there's going to be an established, and this is I'm going to kind of tentatively say this is probably the one that's most likely not going to happen, but I think there's going to be a counter movement in trends where we see a subset of groups of new artists that will come in that will try to buck the trend of concepts and stuff like that and establish kind of a more prog side of, I would even say, dare say, an indie style of movement where they will we will have a very dedicated following to group of artists and fans that will be doing longer experimental and even folkish style of concepts and full-length albums that will be more for the traditional listener is what I think they're going to kind of aim for. And, you know, I kind of already feel like that we see that a little bit in music from IU, and I think a lot of people are going to start going to be coming into the space that will be more or less inspired by her music and create a whole new counter movement of what is popular. I think the next thing that we are already starting to kind of already see in full swing anyway, and that is world tours are going to be more important than ever. Now, I know that for many K-pop groups that the big thing is Japan. And it's starting to kind of get here in the United States. For the example, Twice, and I'm going to use Twice. Twice is probably the biggest showing right now, I feel like, mainly because I think that as of right now, they are really kind of the ones that are tackling the largest stadiums, and I think that that's going to continue to be a theme. I think that, in a sense, it's going to kind of become Japan 2.0, and I think it's because of the fact that I think a lot of people are starting to realize that the music in K-pop is more higher quality than that of Western pop, and I think that that is going to be a full-fledged introduction to K-pop basically taking over the United States even more than it is now, and have basically a second boom here in the States, and world tours and US tours and even like North American tours such as like Canada and Mexico, stuff like that is going to become more important than ever. And so I think that that's probably one that we're already starting to see. Now, this next prediction might kind of seem a little bit more of a downer, but I think that this is kind of the reason of the indie movement that I was talking about earlier. I think we hear a more homogenized version of K-pop. I think that a lot of what trends is going to be so big and so trendy that everything is going to, sadly enough, I think, follow in the footsteps of metal and become so homogenized that it'll be hard to tell many groups apart. And I think that that's something that you could very well see is a homogenized sound of K-pop. And I mean that like even more so than anything that you could possibly see that's even going on right now. I think that's the next one, is a very homogenized and very I would say safe and controlled sound that will become extremely a lot more prevalent. And I think for my last prediction, I think we're going to see a resurgence of legacy groups. There's a lot of people that, and I can actually attest to this. I did a poll recently of what was your favorite gen, and I think it was about, I want to say it's close to like 6, 7, maybe even 800 votes of what your favorite genre was, or not genre, generation was. And it was overwhelmingly for like second and third gen. And by the the standard of voting, I would say I think it was a combined like 87%. So I personally think that we were going to see a resurgence of legacy groups and see, I would even say, some returns of some really big groups such as Big Bang, 21, and Girls' Generation, and maybe even Got the Beat to a full-fledged swing. So I think that that's kind of just some of the things that I think that I can kind of see leading up to and stuff that's already starting to happen. That's just something that I can say, like, from an outsider's perspective, that I think that truly is starting to kind of already show itself in that manner. So in any case, of course I don't say that any of this is actually a guarantee, but this is just some stuff that I've started to observe that I think could make its way into the zeitgeist. Anyway, thank you all so much for this really random video, and I hope that you liked it. I had a lot of fun thinking about this because of, a lot of album reviews. So anyway, thank you all so much, and we'll see you for the next one.